Betting on myself leaves zero room for imposter syndrome. Friendship is not a two-way street, it's a one-way, with us both metaphorically walking the same direction. A lot of my feelings, actions, and behaviors are a trauma response. Putting myself first is not selfish. The people that clap the loudest are hardly ever the ones that are closest to you. The YOLOs from my 20s means doing a lot of damage control in my 30s, but I don't regret that era. And lastly, you can reinvent yourself as many times as you'd like until you are the person you desire to be, in the situations you desire to be in, surrounded by the people you desire to be surrounded by. Keep reinventing yourself.
So for my girlies that's been in their 30s for a while, I have a bone to pick with you. Why did no one warn me that once you get into your 30s, there's a whole new level of confidence that you hit? So I just turned 31, so I'm officially in my 30s, and I feel like I just reached a new level of I don't care in the best way possible. I felt like I spent most of my 20s like, girl, get up, stand up, please. I think it's because the more time that I've spent with myself, I've just naturally become more confident and sure in who I am. But what I really want to know is, where was all of this confidence when I was out here getting my heart broken in my 20s? Like, where were you at? That's when I really needed you.
It's giving boss beach. It's giving boss beach. It's giving bad bitch. Never ever play me like I'm ass. Never bring a nigga over where I lay my head.
Hey, my Rych Babes, I'm Dyor, and today we're going to listen to women in their 30s and what they have learned so far being in their 30s. So if you're in your 30s or getting closer, this might resonate with you, or if you're still in your 20s, consider this a heads up. I will share with you a few lessons that I've learned now that I'm in my 30s. The number one lesson is really to truly love yourself. That's the most biggest lesson that I had to learn, and I'm still learning. And the second lesson is make sure you make your money as quickly and as young as you can. I mean, I wish I would have known this sooner, but being 30 is still young, so make your money as quick as you can. All right, Rych Babes, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you all for supporting and loving this channel. I cannot do it without you, so thank you so much. Tuning into this channel, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share, and also make sure that you comment down below. I'll see you at the end.
Officially in my last year of my 30s. I gotta let that sink in a little bit. I'm gonna be 40 next year. It's cool though, it's fine. I'm prepared. I'm ready for this. I've seen a lot and I've learned a lot, and I got quite a few lessons that I'm gonna take with me into my 40s. I was quite a few of them, so I'm gonna have quite a few bags, but let me tell you what's going in my carry-on, because I can't afford to lose these. Number one, I stopped taking everything so personally. And it's hard because I'm heavy on the Cancer energy. But not everything is about me, especially somebody's opinion of me. Of course, if I did something wrong, I'm going to take accountability. I had to learn to realize that not every problem is mine to solve. Number two, the thin line between your biggest fan and your biggest hater. A lot of times they're the same person. The thing that's keeping them swaying from one side to the other is how close you keep them. Set boundaries and create some distance, and you'll see what I mean. Number three, everyone doesn't have to know who you are and what you're about. The best thing you can do for yourself is let people believe that you're boring. Let them sleep. Put them to bed, tuck them in, and then go live your life. Number four, nothing lasts forever. So if you got something good going on right now, don't take it for granted. Try to live in the moment, try to enjoy it. On the flip side, if things are not going too well right now, it's not gonna last forever. The only thing that you can count on in life is change. Do with this information what you.
Here are 5 things you should know by the age of 35. 1, everybody and everything doesn't deserve a response. 2, if it's easy, it's probably not worth it. Play the long game. 3, your current job doesn't care about you. They pay you enough so you can forget about working on your own dreams. 4, this is an oldie but goodie. People don't believe it, but it's true. You are the sum total of the company that you keep. Tell me about your 4 closest friends, and that tells me a lot about you. And 5, when somebody shows you who they are the first time, believe them. An honorable mention. If you have those so-called friends that are trying to pull you into activities that you know are wrong, those are not your friends. Get far away from them. Those type of people are self-absorbed and worrying about getting what they need for the moment. They don't worry about the consequences for you. Watch out for those people and steer clear. And of course, my list is not exhaustive. What did I miss? Tell me in the comments.
Here's 3 things I've learned in my 30s so far. Self-care is the best care. If your cup is empty, you have literally nothing to give to anyone around you. That includes your husband, your kids, your friends, your family will get 0 if you're a 0. In the past 4 years, I have embraced the idea that self-care is not selfish because I'm able to show up way more efficiently for my people when I've been taken care of first. What people think about me ain't none of my business. What I've realized is that when people assume things about you without knowing all of the facts, they're really just reacting and projecting their own issues onto you based on their own upbringing, their life experiences, their relationships, all that. Though others might have opinions that might be valid sometimes. If you know 2 + 2 = 4, but somebody is saying it = 7, like I said, that has absolutely nothing to do with you. And lastly, no situation is worth it if you have to compromise who you are and what you believe, especially when we're talking about women and expectations that we have on us. When that's a struggle for you, it's easier for you to get into situations where you compromise who you really are. I've learned the hard way that everyone is on their own timeline and nothing is worth me losing my mind and going crazy over child. I learned that I would rather wait 10 to 15 more years to get what I deserve and what I know God wants for me than to just have it now for the sake of having it now, but it be as a result of me compromising myself, my boundaries, and what I believe. Everything I've learned in my 30s has really shifted my mindset and made me a better woman, and baby, I ain't never going back.
God is trying to level me up. God is trying to grow me and stretch me for something bigger than me, for something more than just me and like my little brain and its little understanding. When you feel like you're operating in your purpose and you feel like you actually have a handle on your life, like you actually feel like you know what you're doing, that moment is just a moment. It wouldn't be life if you didn't get uncomfortable again and again and again. I think a lot of us find safety in knowing and understanding. We want to feel like, okay, I'm very successful at this thing. I'm very capable of this thing. And I know a lot about this thing. But there's always more for what God wants to show us. And one of the hardest things to do is to transition out of feeling like you know what you're doing. To be reminded that God is actually in control and he's the only one who knows all things all the time. And the more we learn and the more we know, the less we actually do. Because you just realize, oh, the little bit of control I think I have, I actually don't have. It's like you just know that like, okay, if I feel like I can handle my life right now, that means something's about to change. I'm going to be better for it and I'm going to be more prepared than I was the last time I went through like the season of like leveling up and understanding that control is not mine and having to lean more and more on God. But it don't ever get easy. I think that's one thing for me that I always like struggled with before is I always used to resist the season of like, I gotta grow again versus just embracing it as
today's my birthday. While I get ready for my birthday dinner, I want to talk about 5 things I've learned in my 30s. In the spirit of trying new things, I picked up a bunch of stuff that I want to use to recreate this makeup look that I saw this amazing makeup artist do. Number 1, you have to let God be God. Detach yourself from any specific outcome and attach yourself to trusting that no matter what happens, God is always going to do what is in your best interest. Most times you won't have the spiritual vision to see that, and that's where your faith comes in. Number 2, prioritize spending quality time and creating memories with people that you really care about. Number 3, discipline and consistency will take you further than any skill or talent. You don't need to be perfect, you just have to keep going. A lot of times we get caught up in perfection and wanting to be the best at everything, and that kind of keeps us from actually even getting some skin in the game. All the while you're planning on how to be perfect, people that are imperfect and that are just showing up, they're getting ahead, way ahead, with half the talent and half the skill that you have. You don't have to drink alcohol every time you go out. I stopped drinking about 2 years ago, and I realized how reliant people are on alcohol to actually enjoy themselves. Being the sober friend all of the time has also helped me realize how much people are masking under alcohol. Aside from the mental part of it, also terrible for your body. Don't believe me, just look it up. Statistic that I learned recently is drinking even a little bit of alcohol increases your risk of basically every single type of disease. So cancer, heart disease, everything you can think of under the sun. They don't even taste that good. I'm not playing those type of games. Number 5, you have to learn to unpack your emotions. It's really important for you to know why you feel the way you feel. Oof, this is right. Take stock of how you feel when you're with certain people or when you're at certain places. Question that. The more I learned to unpack my feelings and actually label them, the more I learned about myself. And the more I learned about myself, the better I was able to advocate for myself. Happy New Year.
I just want to tell you that life is not going to end when you choose yourself. In fact, your life is going to start when you choose yourself. Your life is going to start when you love yourself just a little bit more. You prioritize yourself. You focus on yourself. You do what it takes to grow, to heal. Life is going to be worth it. Life is going to be worth it. Savor the moments. Enjoy yourself. Give yourself the best. And most importantly, don't settle. This is my advice to my girls in their 30s. If they've shown you who they are, they don't have to show you twice. Believe it the first time and rock. Just move on. You understand? You understand? But choose yourself.
I wanted to jump on this trend of what I'm learning in my 30s. One of the most important things I've learned in my 30s is to shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I don't always need to share my input. I don't always need to talk about things. I don't always need to, give advice. I don't need to talk about everything. And learning to shut the fuck up has really been one of the best things I've learned. I'm going to give a few examples. If my friend is talking about a man that she's definitely not going to leave, she just needs to, get dogged out a few times, and she needs that, and I'm over here, blah, 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 sharing, and here I am stressing myself out, talking to her about it, knowing she's not going to leave him. I don't need to do it. I don't need to share my input. Let her vent. Let it go through one ear, out the other ear. Let her go through her own process. Another example is when I was in Spain, my sister was there, and she was just yapping, doing whatever she was doing. She was being her. And old me would have been, I would have had some comments. I would have said, why are you doing, just saying things. This time I was like, I don't need to say a goddamn thing. All it's gonna do is cause us to argue. So I decided to once again shut the fuck up. And it was so peaceful. I dealt with the most peace I've ever dealt with. Old us would have been arguing. New, mature, in control of my feelings, in control of my mouth. Didn't say a shit. I loved it. I was like, wow. Something else that I've learned in my 30s is peace. When I say peace, I mean my life is so much more peaceful than in my 20s. In my 20s, I had a lot of friends. I had a lot going on. Everything was very chaotic. I was chaotic. The people that are around me were chaotic, and it brought a lot of stress. So now I have less friends, and I have more quality than quantity, which is so important to me. Very little drama, worried about myself. I'm putting all of this energy on myself now, on building my career, growing myself, which in my 20s was not. And I am really, really loving this 30s. Everybody said your 30s is going to be great, but she's that bitch. I mean, I've been cussing this whole thing. TikTok is kind of like, So hopefully you guys get this message and it goes to the right people. Bye.
3 things I've learned in my 30s while being in my 30s. First thing would be to not care about what anyone thinks. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to make decisions that are helpful and useful for you and to you. It is okay to stay at home if you don't want to go out and do something. The second thing I would say is to travel as much as possible. Go see the world, go see other cultures, go be free and explore the world. And the last thing I'll say is to take your health serious. This actually should have been the first thing I said, but take your health seriously in your 30s. This prime time to really deep dive for you and to take care of your health. Me, I like to drink green juice. That is something that I love to do. I drink green juice every single day, and I literally have all the tea on how you can make this green juice yourself if you want, because I know that having green juice can be stressful to make sometimes, or we don't always have the knowledge or education to know how to make it ourselves. So basically, I make it easy for you. If you're someone who's on the go, a beginner, want to learn, want to lose a little bit of weight, want to keep that skin intact, need to be juicing, I have a full guide in my link in bio that gives you 5 free tips on how to be successful at that. You just click the link, you put your email, and instantly you'll get tips from me. It's that simple. So if you want to learn, make sure you hit that link button in the bio and also follow me. I give these tips all the time. Cheers to health, wealth, and being in your 30s.
This decade has to be about finding your happy and focusing on yourself. And that's going to make some people uncomfortable because they are accustomed to a different version of you that is more selfless. But you got to be more selfish. You thought you would have it all figured out at this age, but you don't. And that's okay. Find a therapist you like. Your best effort and what it means to give 100% will vary. Stop being so hard on yourself. This next decade will be spent healing your inner child. Save more than you spend, but a latte, avocado toast, or a trip to see your mama is not going to make you poor. Well enough is good enough too. Do your best and move on. Stress is a silent killer, baby girl. You will never be able to make everyone happy, so stop trying. When it comes to your job, focus on being effective, not an overachiever. How others feel about you has nothing to do with you. Stop making excuses for why you haven't found a new church. Hope less, pray more. It's beautiful how you have come into your own and really built a life you love. Celebrate that more instead of always obsessing over what's next.
So I just turned 30. Here are 30 things that I learned in 30 years. 1, pour into yourself. 2, rejection builds character. 3, do that thing that you've been waiting to do for forever. 4, give yourself grace. 5, move in silence. 6, not everyone is going to agree with you. 7, do not stay because you guys have kids together. Your kids will rather see you happy than miserable. 8, focus on yourself even if you are in a relationship. 9, sometimes your parents are actually toxic and it's okay to keep them from a distance. 10, you will lose friends, but you will attract new ones and better ones. 11, learn to take accountability for your actions. 12, it is okay if you do not have your shit together. 13, do not compare your life with others. Just use that as inspo. 14, stop complaining and make a change. If you don't like it, you can change it. 15, when you start looking at your body as the one thing that lets you experience life, you are going to think twice about hating it. 16, wear cotton underwears. If he did you wrong, it was never your fault. 18, you can't be behind on your own journey when you are competing with yourself. 19, time heals everything. 20, your health comes first. Do not Google it. Go to the doctors. And also, if you do not feel mentally good, please seek therapy. therapy is so important. If you're dealing with any trauma, things that you cannot talk to your friends or family about, go to therapy. 21, do not be afraid to ask questions. 22, discipline is more important than motivation. 23, be around people that make you feel good. 24, every day that passes is a day you lose, so live your life. 25, difficult conversations do not have to be difficult. 26, glow up journeys are lonely, but they are worth it. 27, focus on what you can control. 28, to change your life, you need to change your environment and your habits. 29, put your ego aside and accept the help. And 30, love yourself. Embrace who the fuck you are.
Number 1, I stopped dating men who knew nothing about courting a woman, vacations, going out on like 5-star dates, or men who do not want to be romantic. I think like me as a feminine soft woman, I genuinely enjoy being with a man, mainly a masculine man, who wants to give me romantic experiences. So if a man does not want to give me that, then quite frankly, he's just not going to be my man. Number 2, travel more. No man in my city was ever going to be my husband, let alone really my boyfriend. So traveling more allows me to see better men, allows me to be better people, and allows me to do better things. Number 3, keeping the faith in black love. Like, I absolutely want to marry a gorgeous black man and have a beautiful black marriage with beautiful black children and have black generational wealth. There will be no dating out on my end because, quite frankly, I don't have to. I date better black men and I am happy about my decision. I believe strongly in the black family structure, and that is just what it's going to be for now and forever. Number 4, what you deal with is what you will put up with, and I will never put up with modern day dating. So you will never see me in these 50-50 or none of those type of relationships. I will be a pedestal wife. Number 5, my happiness must come first. So a man who's in submission to God, understand his purpose and know where he's going, is a man who has to go through God just to get to me.
These are some things in my 30s that I'm learning to accept. Sometimes you don't get married at the age that you thought, and you know what? That's actually okay. I'm not afraid to admit that I am in my 30s and I still need my mom. But it's different in my 30s. I find myself wanting my mom for a life advice, which is crazy because like in my early 20s, I didn't want to tell my mom stuff, you know? I'd be like, I don't want to ask her about this. Now that I'm in my 30s, I cannot wait to get advice from my mom. Like, I cannot wait to see what her inside is. I be calling her up every day like, what do I do? There's never gonna be a time in your life that everything is balanced. At least I'm learning to accept that, because I feel like there was such a facade that at 30, I was gonna have everything and everything was gonna be perfect and know who I am and have my career and have my man and have everything under control. But that's not realistic. There are gonna be certain areas in your life that are more balanced than others, and that's just the ebbs and flows of life. And the more you get comfortable with that, the less stressed out you'll be.
10 things I learned about friendships now that I'm in my 30s. Number 1, if they're gossiping about other people to you and telling you other people's secrets, they can't be trusted because they'll most likely be talking about you too. Number 2, those friends that are always trying to one-up you. So if you're sharing something good that happened to you and they're trying to discredit it, it's just like there seems to be competition and jealousy there. That's never good. Number 3, those friends that are always joking around, calling you names, or, teasing you. I'd always say there's truth to every joke. So you have to be mindful of that because they're just being mean and unkind. And why would you want someone like that in your circle? Number 4, there's people that are always just taking, and they never give anything in return. A relationship is a two-way street. It's a give and take. So if you're constantly feeling like you're giving more than you're actually receiving, then that person is just using you. Number 5, friends that cancel last minute or lie about what they're doing because they don't want to hang out. Whatever it is, it's just dishonest. It's not reliable, and you need somebody who's going to be consistent in your life. Number 6, friends that put you to the test without you knowing it. So I had a friend a really long time ago who I was talking on the phone with, and she had her other friend on the line without me knowing. And she started talking shit about our other friend. And what they wanted to see was if I was going to talk shit about the friend so that then they can say that I was fake. which I didn't, because why would I do that? But it's just like, why would you even go to the extent of doing that? That's just toxic. Number 7, bad influences. So if you have friends that are pressuring you into doing things that you don't want to do, friends are supposed to bring out the best in us, not the worst in us. Number 8, those friends that never take accountability for any of their actions. It's like, no one's perfect. If you did something wrong, just apologize, be genuine and sincere about it, and we can move forward. Number 9, bossy friends. They're trying to control you. It's their way or the highway. It's whatever they say. It's simply one-sided, and they're not taking you into consideration. And that's just not happening. Like, we are supposed to learn from each other, be there for each other. It's not what you say. We both have a say. Last but not least, number 10, friends that make you feel like you have to put on a facade or you can't be yourself around. Who wants to exhaust all that energy? It's just not worth it.
Hey girl, here are a few things that I have learned in my 30s. Wisdom does not necessarily come with age. Wisdom can also come from experience. Just because someone is older than you does not mean they know more. Never settle. The world has so much to give you. There is so much abundance. Never settle for a job. Never settle for a person or an experience that does not align with what you truly desire. Treat yourself. Remember, you are the standard. Spoil yourself. Be mindful not to live above your means, but also do not be cheap to yourself. Ever. Be okay with circles getting smaller. You do not need a million friends, and everybody cannot go. It is okay to break up with friends that are not growing with you. You can heal from anything. You can create the life you want. This isn't something that is going to happen overnight, but understanding that you hold the power in writing your story will change your life. Get to know God for yourself. Get to know God for yourself. Comment below if you'd like part.
So I'm turning 30 this year, and I thought I'll let you guys in on 30 lessons I have learned the hard way in my 30 years of living. Let's get straight into it. This is part 1. First lesson. Be careful who you let in your household. Be careful who you invite into your household, because your house, your home, is your safe space. Do not just let anyone in. Do not just extend invite to just anybody. And I'll tell you why. I'll give you a story of what happened to me. I had this friend. She wasn't exactly a close friend, but she was a friend somewhat. Like, we weren't too close. We weren't enemies either. So she would always ask to be invited to my home because I moved into this new apartment. I bought new furnitures, all that kind of stuff. So she would always ask to be invited, and then I'll invite her over. And we would have lunch, we would have dinner. And everyone was obsessed with my sofa at that time. I had an off-white sofa. So one day, you know, she would always sit in a specific spot, like closer to the wall. Like, that was her spot on the couch. Like, she loved it. So I mean, who cares? So anyway, I found out one day when I was cleaning, at the side of the couch where she was sitting, this girl had fingerprints, dirty fingerprints. Literally, it looked like she was designing her fingerprints on the side of the couch close to the wall. So she would eat, she wouldn't actually wash her hands. She would start sticking them on the couch at the side, and at the same time always praising me about this couch. Like, oh my God, Amma, where did you get this couch from? I love this couch. You're really good at interior decor. Blah, 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 blah. She was doing that to the side of my couch. Literally designing her dirty, disgusting fingerprints. And this was over time. And I found that out, and I just thought it was a bit weird. Like, it literally just looked like graffiti with just fingerprints. And I knew it was her, because she was the only one that would sit in that corner. And I don't really invite too many people around. And when I questioned her about it, she was just like, oh, I'm sorry. Be careful who you let in your home. Even forget all that. Just the energies alone, the people that you bring in and invite into, you're inviting and accepting their energy. You don't know if they mean well for you. You don't know what their intentions are. So treat your home very precious. That is your safe space. Be careful who you invite in your home. Don't be like me and learn the hard way.
Here are the 3 things that have allowed me to thrive in my 30s. Number 1, I choose my joy. Now, for me, that means mindfully doing the things that bring me the most joy and happiness and that keep a smile on my face. Number 2, I have a workout routine that is non-negotiable and that I do not play about. So I take yoga, cycle, Pilates, and bar every single week. And number 3, I choose myself and I choose my perspective. So I show up for me every single day and I choose to focus on the good, because when you focus on the good gets better.
I'm learning to just be a woman that is slow to speak and quick to listen. And it's difficult sometimes. And even learning with just in marriage of like when to speak and not to speak. Like I don't always need to speak. I don't always need to be the first one to have an answer, have a response, even in just general. Like in Bible study or when someone asks me something, taking a moment, taking a beat to pause and just say, okay, before I say something, is this from God? Is this true? Is this something I mean? Or is this me just speaking because I think I just want to speak and because I think I know the right answer? And I think as you get older, you really do start to learn that discernment and discretion of words and wisdom and what comes out of your mouth. And is this prosperous to somebody? Does this bring life?
So, Rych Babes, the other 2 lessons that I learned was 1, prioritize your peace. In your 30s, you start to realize how important it is to prioritize your peace. No drama, toxic relationships, and unnecessary stress isn't worth your time. Protecting your peace at all costs, and don't be afraid to walk away from anything or anyone. And the last lesson is to just trust the process even when it's tough. Life isn't always going to go according to your plans, and that's okay. Sometimes things fall apart just for it to get better. Patience is key, and trust that everything happens for a reason and that God has your back even when it looks difficult. So, my Rych Babes, these are a few of my lessons I've learned so far in my 30s, and I am 34 years old, and I'm sure that there are more to come. Remember, life is a journey, and each decade brings new challenges and new wisdom. If you are in your 30s, what lessons have you learned so far? Share them in the comments below. I love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification button so that way you don't miss out on any more of my content to help you level up and live your best life. Stay blessed, stay rich, Rych Babes.